Yeah, things changed again. I got new merch. It's available now, crowdmade.com/Jayztwocents. We got zip-up hoodies, we got tri-blend, we got a new logo. I digress, since 2012, it's a digress logo. You guys have been asking for that. Anyway, we got all kinds of stuff. Zip-up hoodies, beanies, polos. Don't take my word for it, because obviously I can't do this ad. So just look in the description below and you guys will find the link. Thanks. Part 2 of the gold build went live and you guys had a lot of constructional criticisms. And you guys made some pretty good points, and I said in that video I was not happy with the way things were turning out with this build. In fact, I've spent the whole morning so far, I don't even know what time it is right now. What time is it right now? Oh yeah, it's noon. I spent the whole morning, again, focusing and focusing very hard. Boy. But as you can see, I moved those fittings that were on the top to the bottom of the radiator and moved them on the back side closest to the motherboard tray. So this is where the back of the case is right here, and you can see it's a lot more hidden. Your focal attention is sort of brought to the reservoir and the gold coupler right here that's holding it to the radiator. Speaking of radiator, you can see I switched it. This is, instead of being the 60 millimeter thick, 360 millimeter radiator from EK Water Blocks. This is the Coolstream CE. That was the XE, which stands for 60 mil thick. This is the CE, which is like 45 mil thick, or 40 mil, somewhere around there. And then the SE is the Slim, which is the 30 mil thick. So I've gone with the 280, and we're gonna be using 140 millimeter fans on that. We've got 5 of these that are actually going in this case. So we're gonna see how far we can get on this today, maybe get some pipes bent. And I also want to paint the shroud on this radiator. This one's got a very rough texture to it, which is why these aren't really scratches as much as it's picked up just, well, scratches, but I digress. So we can paint this and make it match, and then it will definitely bring a lot more attention to the gold aspects of the case. A lot of you guys also commented on why there's so many different shades of gold happening. Well, that's because for whatever reason, every single brand that we've had a gold product sent to us has used a different tint of gold, whatever. As long as it's mostly gold, I'm cool with it. So yeah, let's see how far we can actually get today. We're gonna start by painting the radiator. So a lot of people don't know this about EK Water Blocks is this is just a shroud on the core of the radiators. All right, so here's what it looks like, obviously with all the gold paint on there. That's gold. Everyone says it's no gold, it doesn't look gold. Ah! So I'm trying to figure out my tubing run now. Like I said, this is my outlet from the pump. And it doesn't necessarily need to have the double 90s on there. I just stuck those on there for an idea. But I've got to get from there to here on this side. And what really would have made more sense is if I had flipped the block over 180. So if I come straight up from this fitting right here, it's going to, the tube will impact on the side here. It's not offset enough. So I'm gonna put this 45 on there with this 90 up like this, so it sort of offsets. That's why I keep a lot of these various angles on hand, 45s, 90s. So with the 45 coming off of there and then using the double rotary 90, we can offset it from that, and now we can come up and do our thing as we need. So I'm thinking this is just gonna come straight out and go over and down. Well, if I don't say so myself. So we gotta somehow figure out how to get from all the way back there I lined it all up on the wrong fitting. This one was supposed to go in that one. So I think I'm gonna have to flip the block. Hey, it just went,
really?
It just went, boop.
That's awesome.
Yay! See, it's okay. It barely clears right there. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4 90-degree fittings, but hey, it works. So I touched up the scratches that are on that gold panel that goes in the back, which means I have to take this all out now, including the radiator, to get it in there, which means plenty of opportunity for me to screw this up in some way. And one of the most common things I get comment-wise when people see this, anything that crosses over the RAM is, well, Jay, how are you gonna change your RAM? You don't need a lot of room to get RAM in and out. I mean, it's not really that hard. Don't be afraid to run things over the top of your RAM. As long as you have a few millimeters there to be able to lift it out of the socket, you can then turn it and take it out. So some people might be wondering, Jay, why are you going with a 1600 watt power supply? That's such overkill. Well, the Titans are pretty power hungry. When you overclock them, you're gonna get about 330 to 350 watts of power draw. We also have a 7980 XE in here. We plan on doing a little bit of overclocking with that. We'll pull 800, 700, 800 by itself. So if you do the math on that, we're gonna be pulling under load over 1,000 watts. And it's also, now, the reason why I say over 1,000 watts, you can't just add those numbers together because the CPU under 100% load, the GPUs won't be because the CPU can't handle the GPU load if it's doing stuff. The other reason is just the efficiency curve. Power supplies are most efficient around 50, 60%. And I want to just keep it as efficient as possible. And let's be honest, the next step down, quite honestly, is around the 1,200 watt mark. And I just wanna make sure I have more than I need because the power supply is not gonna supply more than is being drawn. I've had a lot of people say, gee, you can't force 1,600 watts in that, you're gonna blow it up. Like, you can tell who's definitely never really played around with high-end hardware or understands how the electricity draw works. It's only gonna pull what it needs. So yeah, but this is the EVGA 1600 T2. This is a titanium. And all the cables that we use from CableMod are sleeved to this because it is a full modular. They're just gonna plug in back here. I do have to get out one Molex cable though, because I knew that the pump that I had got was a SATA pump. But if you remember at the start of this build, I showed you guys how I ended up having to switch to the DVC, which is a Molex, which means I've got to use one ugly cable. Okay, so we're officially at the point of, well, not really no return, but definitely inconvenient return because I've taken the drives out of my workstation now upstairs. This is just a 4 gigabyte.
Terabyte?
Did I say gigabyte?
Yeah.
So it's a 4 terabyte drive, a Seagate Barracuda. It's a Barracuda. The storage that goes into this machine isn't gonna matter as much. This is a 960 gigabyte HyperX Savage drive. Apparently I'm smarter than I thought because I thought I didn't order a Molex, but I did. So once we get the power supply in here and then get the wiring all handled, then we can fire it up. I know the parts individually work. The graphics cards we've tested, the CPU we've used, the RAM we've used in other builds. The only thing I have not actually tested and did a boot test with on this is the motherboard. And as much as I love Asus, I've had some motherboard issues with them in the past that have caused me to literally pull hair out. So my fingers are crossed on that. So, okay, let's just get this all done and we'll come back when it's working. I don't want to talk about it.
You have to talk about it. You have to explain it to the audience, Jay.
I got my flow backwards. I got my flow backwards. So you guys remember when I was like, oh wait, I did this tube wrong. Oh, I'm an idiot. No, I was an idiot the second time, not the first time. The first time I thought I was an idiot, I wasn't the idiot. I'm the idiot now, not the first time. Because I forgot we went out of the pump into the rad, which means this needed to go into the in on the pump, exactly as we thought it should. And then I was like, wait a minute, and I thought that was the out, and so we filled it right now, or started to fill it, we realized it's flowing backwards. All right, I fixed it. Now we can do the fill montage. Get it, fill. So we've got our 18 core 7980 XE. This is an i9, but it's the first gen 18 core. And it is not soldered, but it is delidded, as you saw. And we've got a weird mix of thermal paste. We've got KPX underneath the IHS, and we've got MX4 on top, which is definitely not the way it should be, but considering how many times we've had to take the block off, I used the last of my KPX that I had in that tube, and I didn't want to open a new one. So whatever. I have got hardware monitor up right now. We're running at 4.5 on all cores, and we're only running at 1.21 volts, so it's not a whole lot of voltage, but it is stable. In fact, we will go ahead and show you right now a Cinebench run if you want to compare your scores. Something to keep in mind too, and look at this, the package hits 81, 82, but the cores, and then that thing ramps up and turns into a tornado, sitting in the 60s and 70s on the core. And our score, 4,438. But let's go ahead and do this. So I'm gonna save that score. Let's load up some 3D Mark, and let's see what our 3D Mark Time Spy Extreme score is. Okay, so I keep getting crashes in the CPU part of 3D Mark, so I lowered it down to like 4.4, and anyway, I didn't run the test again. We've got to get this video edited and up for you guys. Edited. I wanted to show you something here. These Titans are freaking hot. Look at that, we're idling at 44 degrees. The top card's idling at 50. I mean, there's plenty of air gap here for, you know, air to make it in there for it to pull and cool itself off. It's just there is a lot of heat coming off the back plate of this card being picked up by that one. The other thing too is these fans, I'm gonna have to change out these 140s. Although they match the build perfectly because they are fractal design fans, they're only 100 or 1000 RPM fans, and they don't move a ton of air, especially through the radiator and stuff on the front with the door closed and all of that. Just had some dialing in to do on the RAM overclock and obviously CPU voltages, which takes longer than just clicking a couple buttons in a video like this and calling it done. But what do you guys think of the build? I think I'm gonna call this one Gold Digger because it would cost nearly 10,000 US dollars to build this on your own right now. We've got $5,100 because that's like $90 or $80 for the bridge. So about $5,100 worth of graphics cards, $2,000 worth of CPU, if we got the latest one anyway. I think the motherboard's like $500, another like $500 for the RAM, and then all the water cooling gear, and yeah, it got expensive quick. So anyway, this is my new workstation, and I shall always be reminded of how much time it stole from me. That's why I'm calling it Gold Digger, I guess. So there's a good tie-in to the name. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And as always, we'll see you in the next one. What is this thing? It's a radiator. You ever seen a guy have a stroke on live video? Dude, I am not an example to be used in terms of like, as an expert. Shut up. Could you imagine marrying this? And then having babies? Stupid people are stupid. Hey, Ma, there's a gator in the house again. Damn it, Jay, just build the computer and stop having fun at work. Stop having fun. Make videos that I want to see. Shut up, Phil. I should do a crossfire build.
Crossfire!
Don't get caught in the crossfire. Woo, that was a close call. Sleep well, my friends. I forgot to put my Hot Pockets in the freezer. They've been out for like 2 hours. All right, so all we had to do